Is it the sense of, because when you teach your acting classes, because I was in them, they're absolutely fantastic, by the way. And, it's a couple of weeks where you're invested, not only in script writing, but improv and everything in between. And the guidance you give, it's a month. The guidance you give everybody each week, varies from one week to the next. And there's homework to do, and it's pretty intense. But I would never have imagined you saying that sentence, that you come from a place of fear yourself, because I would always see you, because as a director, so effervescent and confident. Does acting still give you the heebie-jeebies like that? Do you still, is it right to go into a role a little bit kind of, a little bit nervy, right? Because nobody knows it all.
But surely anything worth doing should give you the heebie-jeebies, as you call them, including parenting, including everything. But just that idea where you're going, no,
have I got this? But then maybe I don't, but I'll go do my best anyway.
But I think the idea, absurd as it might sound, I think the idea that if we are all servants in pursuit of something that is transcendent, and we use structure and form and the history and the legacy created by extraordinary people before us, but the imaginative leap to become something new, then we have got to be humble in the truest sense of the term to do that.
That's true.
And part of that humble quality is to go, not only do I not know everything, it's imperative that I have the courtesy to recognize that maybe not knowing what happens next is where the magic might exist. And that to me applies across the board. The older I get, the more I realize that definitives, reductionist ideas are damaging. They create weight. Whereas having no idea what might happen next, but having the courage to go into that unknown place, that to me is where the magic and the alchemy begins.
Indeed. And, acting, I'm so glad you're chatting about returning, or have returned to acting in every sense of the word, because again, in your acting classes, I was so surprised by the talent that I saw. I was only just there as a paid, person to enjoy the acting coaching that you were giving me. But I really enjoyed the collaborative effect with all the others that were there. And, do you find that every class that you do, or every session that you do, you get something out of it as well?
Well, I think the idea of walking into a room with maybe 12, 14, 16 people, and they're all strangers, and they've had the courage to leave their bedroom and come there that first night. And then for those people to be so inhibited and afraid or arrogant or whatever they might be, to build a community out of that in the shortest time frame possible is a great gauntlet to throw down to yourself over and over again.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that we were counting there recently, there's 14 feature films have been made as a consequence of those classes, where the people in the class would end up making a movie, a feature film. Some of them have done very, very well.
Amazing. And
that idea, that joy of seeing that slow burn but eventual spotlight on somebody's talent. And I find time and again some of the most talented people I've ever seen in my life are in a small room somewhere and no one would ever see them.
I would agree. And thank you for saying spotlight. That obviously is the name of the show. But that's so true, isn't it? It's about putting the spotlight on somebody. And I just want to reiterate again, in your acting classes, there is a camera. You allow people be on camera. They can have a show reel afterwards. So that sense is really inviting. If you want to take on acting and you've no idea, you've no experience, I found that I was revisiting it was slightly different because I had an acting agent. I'd done a bit of acting before. So I was nervous enough walking through that threshold. But some of the others with me, no experience whatsoever. And they really shone. And I thought to myself, you probably find yourself looking at certain people in the classes over the years that you've done it and think they could act there with some of the greats. There's talent everywhere.
Well, I remember Jared Harris came to the class, the great Jared Harris.
Right.
And he's one of my favorite actors in the world. And he came to the class. It was part of the Richard Harris Film Festival, and he just dropped in.
Lovely.
And then he was so excited by the class, he asked, could he come to a second one? So I said, of course. So he came to a second one. Now, his willingness to play, this is an Oscar-nominated, astonishing actor.
Yeah, he's been in Chernobyl, he's been in everything.
Amazing.
Yeah,
but his willingness to play, you go, that's the thing that we need, the innocence of play. Then he was doing a big show here, and he brought the lead actor from the big show. He says, can he come to the class? So suddenly you got these two masters behave like children, behave like the unknown is the only thing that matters. So I don't take actors and the process of acting seriously when it comes to the play of engagement. but I take the preparation in advance incredibly seriously, because you have to understand craft, you have to understand structure, you have to understand the history and legacy of where we're coming from. So it's not that you walk in and go, okay, let's see what impulse you have.
No.
It's where you go, how do we get you to a point like a catapult where you pull it all the way back, and eventually when it's released, the impulse is given life. But you can't do that unless you have created the catapult, created the extension.
And is each course different? Do you bring different things into the courses as they evolve over the year?
The structure is the same, because the structure has been meticulously worked out over decades. But that structure, like all structures, it needs to be the leap-off point in order to learn how to fly. And that changes constantly. That organic process changes in every class.
Well, my husband did it as well. And Richard was absolutely over the moon. I mean, just fizzing with excitement. I mean, Richard's an ex-rugby player. You know, he works in a corporate job. So, you know, the idea of him deciding to leap into acting would be completely alien. But he just had such a wonderful experience. He felt like he could let go. Because with improv, you know, you would come up with many different ideas and we just had to run with them. And you have to get over yourself. You have to be less embarrassed. You just have to try and find that part of yourself that's the performer. And sometimes that doesn't always come naturally to people. But what I love about the course is you let everyone explore. And Richard was, as I said, coming home, running lines with me and stuff. I mean, it was a bit odd, right? Because I was like, there's no way he's going to become, you know, the next Ryan Gosling, but maybe he will. Who knows? But it unlocked and unleashed something in him because he wouldn't be exposed to that world and I would have been. That was really exciting to me. Do you find that people coming up to you saying they loved the course, they loved playing with something that you're giving them as well? Because, you know, maybe people have been bought the courses for Christmas or they have an interest or whatever. How does that play out?
I do have, there are certain people who do the course twice a year, every year, and have done for
Really?
10, 12 years.
Really?
There are other people who do it every couple of months. There are other people who do it once a year.
Yeah.
Then there are other people who call me at 4 o'clock in the morning and say, I finally understand it. And you go, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Do I care?
You seriously don't take those calls, do you?
What I teach is form and structure. And form and structure is the greatest tool you can possibly have in order to overcome. You talk about embarrassment or fear. Fear and embarrassment are not just inevitable, they're kind of necessary. And this idea of confidence, I never understood why confidence was elevated to the top of the hierarchy of capacity. Morons can be incompetent. Morons can be confident with their incompetence.
Yes.
And the arrogance of incompetence is something I see all across the board. So I not
Never
only
a true word said, yeah.
But not only does it not bother me if someone is inhibited or if somebody is afraid or shy or doubts themselves, immediately that endears them to me, because immediately I go, okay, there's life in them. Now, how do they overcome the obstacles to get what they want? That's where the imaginative spark takes place. And no matter how experienced or inexperienced you are as an actor, the same fundamental idea of the imaginative impulse to overcome an obstacle becomes as exciting now as it was 30 years ago or 30 years from now.
So Terry, you're in the middle of the classes at the moment. They run all through the year, but I know people are going to be screaming, ask them, how can we get to you again? How can you be part of the classes?
Just go into dublinactingclasses.ie.
And that's it?
That's all on the website.
And sign up. And in the class, you've got at least 12, 14
12,
people.
14, yeah. Usually, we'd like to keep it a nice tight group.
They're fantastic. I mean, I was panicked doing it at times. I thought, I don't want to embarrass myself in front of Terry. I've known him so long. But you just have to let go and enjoy them.
You
and
were brilliant.
Oh, no. I just... It's different, isn't it, when you have the expectation to act. And yeah, like everyone else, I was a little bit nervous, but I loved it. I love the sense of freedom. I love the sense of being inhibited and having fun, I think, was the big part for me, you know? I'd forgotten how much fun it was.
But also taking a few risks.
Yeah.
The pleasure that your body returns to when you have the courage to take a risk that you didn't want to take and you overcame it, and suddenly your body goes, wow, this is what it feels like.
Yeah. I had a whole new profound respect for actors that I admire and enjoy. And I thought to myself, because you always can poo-poo it as like, anyone can do. But actually being in that space with people watching you, even though I've done presenting for many, many, many years, it's very different. It surprised me how much I enjoyed it and the freedom to do it. Just more the fact that I loved having time to digest material, play with material, improvise with material, and then finally it's shot and it's up online for everybody to see. Please don't watch mine because I am embarrassed. But, you know, it's that sense of, you know, you do get a show reel, which is lovely to have because you maybe don't know how you can get there as an actor. Anyway, moving on with The Prize Fighter, absolute